welcome back to another video. Today, I know by the title of this video, I'm a few months late. I feel like I should have done this in like December or January. It is the Lord's month of March, but I wanted to go through all the books that I read in the Lord's year 2024. All the books I read last year, which is I think 4. I read 4 books last year. You can see them behind me. You can see a few of them behind me. I'm trying to really get into reading this year in the Lord's year 2025, but in 2024 is kind of when I started. I wasn't really a big reader like in high school. I of course did the required readings, but I didn't go off and read. I just didn't read. I don't know how to read. I didn't go off and read by myself, like my own type of books. Like I could not name a book that I bought in high school that I actually read front to back. I can only think of like middle school, which was probably going to be The Fault in Our Stars. I did the required readings. Obviously read fanfic in high school. I was reading, okay? I was locked in on Wattpad. I didn't know what AO3 was until I think after high school, but that's besides the point. So yeah, let's just jump into it. I think this is gonna be kind of in order. Like I think this one was the first book I finished in 2024. That being said, Normal People by Sally Rooney. I finished this one, I think, sometime in the beginning of 2024. I'll go ahead and read the back of it for you. Oh my god, it's so dirty. It's also dusty because I finished reading it, so it's just been sitting on a shelf. Connell and Marianne grew up in the same small town, but the similarities end there. At school, Connell is popular. Connell. For some reason, that doesn't sound like a word anymore. Connell is popular and well-liked, while Marianne is a loner. When the two strike up a conversation, awkward but electrifying, something life-changing begins. Normal People is the story of mutual fascination, friendship, and love. It takes us from the first conversation to the years beyond, in the company of two people who try to stay apart, but find that they can't. Okay, listen, this was recommended to me by one of my friends, and I was like, okay, you know, seems not bad. The story was okay. I think it's not really anything that I can relate to because it's just kind of like, I think it takes place in, if I'm not mistaken, Dublin, Ireland. Let me see. I don't remember. I don't remember where it takes place. But Sally Rooney is an Irish author. I'm not even gonna lie to you. It's a little bit of a hard read just because I'm not the biggest fan of her writing style. I would say this one was definitely easier to read than I just finished Beautiful World, Where Are You by Sally Rooney. That one took me about 6 months to read because she doesn't really use like quotation. Okay, this is one thing. I need me an easy read. If I'm not captivated in the first 5 pages, I'm bored, okay? That's just my little brain, my little ADHD brain. I have to have something, it has to be exciting. There has to be tea, basically. And this one didn't have that much tea. Beautiful World, Where Are You? I just finished, I think like last week. I was halfway done with it. So I think I read the first half about 6 months ago, stopped reading because I got bored. And then the second half I was like, okay, I'm starting my new reading journey, so I'm gonna finish it. I was determined to finish it because I paid for it at Barnes & Noble, and therefore the money has to go, you know, in my mind, the money is put to good use if I finish the book, right? So this one, it's okay. I don't feel like I have much to say about it because it's not my favorite. Like my friend who recommended this to me, this is definitely like a her type of book, but like for me, I don't know, I just have like a different type of interest when I'm reading a book. But I believe it was adapted into a Hulu show. I haven't watched it. I kind of do want to. Maybe it'll make me like the book more. But yeah, Beautiful World, Where Are You? At the end of this, the Lord's year 2025, I'll do a deep dive of what I read in 2025 because I think I have like 4 unread books right now that I bought, and they've just been collecting because one thing about me is I like to buy a book and not read it. So this year I'm like, I'm gonna read all the books that I bought and I'm gonna finish them. I think I want to read at least 4 or 5 this year because I read 4 last year, so that's kind of the vibes. So that's Normal People by Sally Rooney. Next up on the list, I'm Glad My Mom Died by Jeanette McCurdy. Now this one, Devastating. Let me go ahead and read the back. A heartbreaking and hilarious memoir by iCarly and Sam and Cat star Jeanette McCurdy about her struggles as a former child actor, including eating disorders, addiction, and a complicated relationship with her overbearing mother, and how she retook control of her own life. Y'all, this one was crazy. Such a devastating story. I love the cover though. I love this picture she has with the urn. I think it's so, it's like funny, but like obviously very, very sad. Jeanette McCurdy, y'all, that's actually gonna be my twin, because I was such a Nickelodeon kid when I was younger. I was such a Disney kid when I was younger. Like I absolutely loved iCarly. I loved iCarly. I wasn't the biggest fan of Sam and Cat because it just wasn't iCarly, so I didn't really mess with Sam and Cat. But just everything that she was in up until like the last thing I remember watching with Jeanette McCurdy with it was that Netflix show that she was in. I think it was called like Between or something. It was like a story. She was the lead. It was like this world where no one lives up to like 20 or 22 years old because of some virus. I watched that because she was in it, because I'm such a huge Jeanette McCurdy fan. But the tellings in this book, crazy. Dan Schneider, when I get my hands on you, Dan Schneider, I'm gonna beat him to death with my bare hands. I'm kidding. Anyway, this, and I don't know if y'all saw the Quiet on Set, the Nickelodeon documentary of like all the child stars from like the early 90s up until the mid to late 2000s of Nickelodeon. I don't know why I'm so in the book. When Dan Schneider was like still in charge of everything, just the retellings of like these absolute horror stories of these children on these sets were just unfathomably dark. And when they had Drake Bell come into I think it was the 3rd episode, devastating, absolutely devastating. But I'm glad this shares a lot of light on what it was like to be a child star on Nickelodeon. I'm just waiting for some of the Disney kids to come out, because girl, those Disney kids, they're running the Disney kids like the Navy. But this was really, really good. I don't know if I should be rating them. I'm not very good at ratings. Okay, let me go back a little bit. I'll give Normal People probably like a 6 out of 10 for my scale. Okay, I know a lot of people like this book. I'm glad my mom died. Very riveting. Not once is it ever boring. She does not have a boring life. She was put through the ringer by her mother. Oh my god. Because her mother. This is probably gonna be 8 out of 10 for me. This was really, really good. And thinking back, like, I loved iCarly so much. I thought it was like the funniest show ever. Some of the stuff didn't age well. It's a little cringe, I'll tell you that. But just overall so good. I actually just rewatched the entirety of Drake and Josh with Nate, and I'll tell you what, Drake and Josh still holds up. It's still funny. All 4 seasons, I think, are on Netflix, if I remember correctly, or Hulu, one of those. But that one still holds up. Next, The Woman in Me by Britney Spears. That's how I feel about this book. I love Britney Spears unfathomably so. I think this inside cover right here is so good. I just choose the best times to film Donut. I don't know if you hear my dad out there. He's like hosing something down or cleaning something, and then my dog's also barking. I live in a house full of people, mind you. So, after I was rudely interrupted. Britney Spears, The Woman in Me. I'll go ahead and read the cover for you. The Woman in Me is a brave, astonishingly moving story about freedom, fame, motherhood, survival, faith, and hope. In June 2021, the whole world was listening as Britney Spears spoke in open court. The impact of sharing her voice, her truth, was undeniable, and it changed the course of her life and lives of countless others. The Woman in Me reveals for the first time her incredible journey and the strength, one of the greatest performers in pop music history. Written with remarkable candor and humor, Spears' groundbreaking memoir illuminates the enduring power of music and love, and the importance of a woman telling her own story, on her own terms, at last. Another devastating life. This one was very good. Another one that I want to read about a woman's devastating life is Brooke Shields just came out with her memoir. I believe it's called Brooke Shields is Not Allowed to Get Old or something like that. I really want to read that one. I've heard it's very, very good, very, very devastating. If you know anything about Brooke Shields, women in Hollywood just can't win, basically. But we've been knew that, right? The Woman in Me by Britney Spears, she tells the story about her own life, obviously. She starts from the very beginning of where she grew up in Louisiana, her upbringing to fame, her little sister, Jamie Lynn Spears, as we all know, her brother, her parents. That one Wendy Williams clip, that's like, shame on you, Mr. Spears, and you too, Mrs. Spears. Death to all of them. I say death to all of them all the time. Britney Spears' parents being the absolute worst, and it's in pretty great detail. She goes about when she had her 2 sons, when she was married for a short time, her relationship with Justin Timberlake. This book is tea. It's devastating, but it's tea. And I remember when this came out too, everyone was turning on Justin Timberlake because of how awful he was to her. It is so, so good. And I think if you have the opportunity, if you are a fan of Britney Spears, I think Britney Spears was such a household name, and even still, I think she is a household name, especially when the whole ending of her conservatorship was coming to light, like back in 2021, like the cover says. I was there, bitch. Were you there listening to her court hearing in 2021? I remember seeing on TikTok everyone lined up at the courthouse that she was doing her hearing from, all the Free Britney signs. It was just like so moving, because such a world where she's felt like she's had no one, like in her conservatorship. It's just been it feels so rewarding to have so many people behind your back just like rooting you on from afar. And you know, people are still calling her crazy because she's just, honestly, let a woman be goofy on Instagram. If she wants to post videos of her dancing almost completely naked on her Instagram, so be it. Who am I to tell a woman that she can't dance naked on Instagram and use her 10 million, 100,000 emojis in her Instagram captions? Who am I to say that she can't do that? I think we should leave her alone. The last book, the 4th book. I finished this one right before I finished Beautiful World, Where Are You? So I'm thinking it was about a month ago. I was so locked in. This is The Help by Catherine Stockett. Now, if y'all have seen the movie The Help, I feel like it's a pretty good retelling of this story. If you have the chance to go watch The Help, I definitely recommend it. It has Emma Stone, it has Octavia Spencer, it has the woman who plays the mom in Juno. I can't remember her name. Has Bryce Dallas Howard. It's just such a star-studded cast, in my opinion. Just like some of my favorite actresses in this retelling of this story. So let me go ahead and read the back of it for you. 22-year-old Skeeter has just returned home after graduating from Ole Miss. She may have a degree, but it is 1962 Mississippi, and her mother will not be happy till Skeeter has a ring on her finger. Skeeter would normally find solace with her beloved maid Constantine, the woman who raised her, but Constantine has disappeared and no one will tell Skeeter where she has gone. Aibileen is a black maid, a wise, regal woman raising her 17th white child. Something has shifted inside her after the loss of her own son, who died while his bosses looked the other way. She is devoted to the little girl she looks after, though she knows both their hearts may be broken. Minnie, Aibileen's best friend, is short, fat, and perhaps the sassiest woman in Mississippi. She can cook like nobody's business, but she can't mind her tongue, so she's lost yet another job. Minnie finally finds a position working for someone too new to the town to know her reputation, but her new boss has secrets of her own. Seemingly as different from one another can be, these women will nonetheless come together for a clandestine project that will put them all at risk. And why? Because they are suffering within the lines that define their town and their times. And sometimes the lines are meant to be crossed. That's what that's about. In the movie, Skeeter is played by Emma Stone, Minnie is played by Octavia Spencer, and Aibileen is played by, I believe, Viola Davis. Okay, now that I've finished the book, I watched the movie again because I've seen the movie but just not in a long time. So after I finished the book, I was like, I cannot wait to watch the movie because, of course, as you could imagine, the book is better. Okay, the movie is really, really good, but there are some plot points that I wish I would have seen in the movie that I felt like were pretty important. Like, of course, you can't retell everything from the book, like a book adaptation movie. Key points to the story that should have been conveyed in the movie. Like, okay, there's gonna be some spoilers. Is it a spoiler if the book came out in 2009? Okay, this is past the 5-year rule. Y'all need to lock in and read this. Just like some of the things that have to do with Minnie and the new white woman that she cleans house for and cooks for and stuff like that. Miss Celia. I wish we would have seen more of Miss Celia, because Miss Celia is just she's just a bimbo at the end of the day. In the movie, she doesn't get along with the other ladies because her husband, Johnny, I believe his name is, they got together right after one of the more popular white ladies. She was in a relationship with Johnny and they broke up, and shortly after they broke up, Celia got with Johnny, right? Are you guys following me? So the other white ladies are convinced that he cheated on the popular one with Miss Celia, is what she's called by Minnie in the book, Miss Celia. Miss Celia doesn't know that this rumor spread about her, because that's not what happened. I think the other white ladies were just jealous. In the movie, Miss Celia, I love her so much. That's why I wish there could have been more of Miss Celia. Like, I know it's not her story, but I really wish we could have seen more of Celia, because she's so funny. She's like stupid. Like, she's not your typical 1962 housewife. Like the other white ladies, you know, they're mothers, they're married, they got, you know, they became mothers shortly after they got married, because that was just the thing to do in the 60s. If you weren't married by 18, then they called you a whore on the streets. Like, she doesn't have any kids because she can't, basically. But anyway, this is I'm a Miss Celia apologist through and through. Y'all go watch the movie, tell me what you think about Miss Celia, because she's probably one of my favorite characters. I didn't rate Britney Spears. This video is gonna be all over the place. I think I'll probably rate this one like an 8.5 out of 10. Maybe a 9. But The Help, honestly, might get a 10 out of 10 rating from me. I hate to say it, I think it's gonna get a 10 out of 10 rating. It is so good. So that was all 4 books I read last year. Isn't that exciting? 2 of them were memoirs, but one thing about me is I want to know the tea. So another thing about me is I love me a good memoir, because I'm just nosy. I want to know the tea of people's lives. You release it into a book and I'm gonna buy it. But yeah, that was all the books I read. Honestly, if anyone has any suggestions, I honestly want a book like this. I also bought a psychological horror book, which I'm kind of scared to read, but it looked really good, at least from what the back of the book told me. But if there's anything else, like I Who Have Never Known Men, let me know, because like I said, I need it to capture me in 5 pages or I'm bored. I cannot read it. I have another unfinished book over there too. My little brain can't handle constantly not being like stimulated. So yeah, let me know what you want me to do next. Go ahead and like this video, subscribe to my channel. I upload every Friday. Please recommend me more books. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Okay, bye.